There are nights when you've just lain down and you suddenly realize you're full of wounds, full of stumbles and failures, and you quietly ask yourself, is there still anything good left in this heart that I can truly believe in? This video is a very gentle journey, moving through 4 small stages. Recognizing the quiet seed of goodness within, daring to walk even while you're still imperfect, learning again to have a heart that knows enough, and learning how to stand up softer, kinder, after every fall. You can close your eyes, relax your shoulders, and just listen slowly. Listen all the way to the end of this video to let something settle quietly inside you. To let each word in this video hold your tiredness, soothe your heart, and guide you into a deeper, more healing sleep. If you'd like every evening to have a gentle, quiet space like this to come back to yourself, you are warmly invited to softly subscribe to the channel Buddha's Loving Words, so we can keep walking together on the path of awakening and inner peace. The unbroken seed of goodness. Have you ever sat quietly, looked at yourself and sighed, "My life isn't that bad, but somehow nothing in me feels truly good"? It's easy to believe in criticism, easy to believe in painful memories, easy to believe in old wounds, and it's hard to believe there is a quiet goodness still living in your heart. But in the Buddha's teaching, true faith does not begin with some power outside of you. It begins with the quiet goodness deep inside. Trust the gentle goodness in your own heart. That is the first gate of faith. In the time of the Buddha, there was a notorious killer named Angulimala. He murdered people. He cut off their fingers and wore them as a necklace. In everyone's eyes, Angulimala was pure darkness, pure guilt, pure, unforgivable evil. Yet when the Buddha met him, he did not only see a sinner, he also saw an undamaged seed deep inside this man. The Buddha did not deny the terrible things he had done, but he refused to lock Angulimala forever inside that image. With that wisdom, the Buddha turned back, faced Angulimala, and with compassion and clarity touched the deepest goodness in him. Even a goodness Angulimala himself did not know was still there. This story is not just to say the Buddha was great. It reminds us of something else. If even someone like that still carried a seed that could be transformed, then how could it be that you, who are trying to live kindly and seeking peace, have no goodness left at all? We just repeat one story over and over. How bad I am, how I have failed, how much I have ruined. We tell this story so often that we forget another truth. Beneath all of that, there is a place in your heart that has never been stained, a small seed quietly waiting to sprout. In Buddhism, we often speak of Buddha nature. Buddha nature is the deep, awakened nature present in every being. It is like a tiny seed covered by ignorance, by habits, by suffering, but it never disappears. Even when you feel completely broken, the seed of awakening in you has never been damaged. All your torment, your mistakes, your weakness, your collapse, they are only layers of mud on the surface. They never reach your deepest nature. One day, when there is enough light, enough gentle rain, that seed can still sprout. Imagine a lotus seed lying in thick mud at the bottom of a pond. If we only look at the murky water, we might say, "There is nothing beautiful here, only dirty mud and trash." But with wisdom, we understand this. It is exactly in this muddy place that the lotus will grow, rise above the water, and open its pure flower. Our pain and wounds are just like that. They are not the end of our ability to be good. They are the very environment where the seed of awakening quietly matures. The real question is not, what have I been through? The real question is, can I still believe there is a seed in me that has not been lost? Usually we think faith means believing in something outside, a holy figure, a ritual, a prayer. But in the spirit of the Buddha's teaching, true faith begins when you turn back and look deeply into yourself. After everything I've been through, is there still something in me that is beautiful, whole, true, and unbroken? When you dare to answer yes, even in a whisper, a small light appears. You begin to stop sentencing yourself. I'm a terrible person. There is nothing left to believe in. My life is only a chain of mistakes. Instead, you can say, I've been through a lot of suffering, but there is still a place in me that is very quiet, very wholesome, a place I may have never really touched. The Buddha never promised that practice would erase all difficulties. He simply showed how to recognize what is not wounded right in the middle of what hurts. When someone loses a loved one, their heart may feel torn apart. The pain is real. The tears are real. The emptiness is real. The Buddha did not tell us to deny this. He taught us to look deeper. Beneath this loss, there is an energy of understanding, acceptance, and love waiting to be awakened. If we dare to stay with our pain, not run away, not distract ourselves, we slowly touch the part of us that has never been broken. The quiet goodness in us is rarely loud. It doesn't show off. It doesn't demand to be seen. It appears as a simple wish to do something kind, to live a little more gently, to understand and love a little more. Sometimes it's the moment you walk past someone begging on the street and your heart wants to help, even if your hands stay still. Sometimes it's a late, exhausting evening when you are about to snap at someone, but you stay quiet instead, not because you are weak, but because you don't want to hurt them. Sometimes it's the time you cry from regret, when you realize you have hurt a loved one, and from that day on, you try to speak more gently. No one takes a picture of these moments. No one posts them online, but they are exactly the silent goodness in your heart. Believing in this goodness is a turning point. Then you no longer see yourself as a total failure. You see yourself as someone still learning, still growing, still practicing how to walk through this life. Even when you stumble, even when you fall, you still know, deep down, I am not my mistakes. This kind of faith does not sugarcoat your life. It is a humble recognition of a simple truth. Your deepest nature still has the capacity to awaken. It still has the capacity to love. If you have walked through very dark times, it may be hard to accept that there is still an undamaged seed inside you. But true faith does not have to begin with a big dream. It can start very small, with a gentle sentence you say to yourself, maybe, in all that is not okay, there is still a part of me worth cherishing. From there, you become a little more patient with yourself, a little less harsh, a little less judgmental. When you sit quietly, breathe more slowly, and listen more deeply, you may feel a peaceful place in your heart, a place the storms of life can pass over, but never destroy. That seed is already there. That quiet goodness is already there. You may not see it clearly yet, but it is waiting for you to recognize it. And the moment you start to believe in it, even just a little, the first gate of true faith gently opens in your life. Keep walking, even if you're not perfect. When you begin to see that there is still a whole seed inside you, still a quiet, gentle goodness that has never been destroyed, a natural question appears. So what am I supposed to do now? Many people stop right there. They know there is still something good in them, but they hesitate and do not dare to move. They think, I'll wait until I'm calmer, smarter, less angry, making fewer mistakes. Then I will practice. Then I will change. And so this month passes. Then another year passes. Life keeps turning in the same old habits, just because deep down, we silently sign a contract with ourselves. I must be perfect before I'm allowed to step onto the path. But there is a very gentle, very powerful reminder. Don't wait to be perfect before you start walking. It is the walking itself that ripens the heart. This is not just a nice quote. It is the spirit of the whole Buddhist path. The path is a way to walk, not a badge to wear. A practitioner is not someone who is already perfect. A practitioner is someone who keeps walking. In the time of the Buddha, there was a monk named Kula Panthaka. He was famous for one thing, being very slow. His older brother was extremely smart. He remembered everything he learned. But Kula Panthaka, even after becoming a monk, could not memorize even one short verse. The teacher taught him one line. He remembered half. The teacher taught him 2 lines. He forgot the first. In the end, even his own brother lost patience. He told him to leave the monastic life thinking, a person like this can't really practice. If you put yourself in his place, you can imagine how deeply his heart was hurt. He probably believed, I'm useless. I don't have what it takes. I don't deserve to walk this path. But the Buddha did not see him that way. The Buddha did not ask, how smart are you? How many verses can you recite? He asked only one thing. Do you truly want to walk this path? When he saw that Kula Panthaka still had a sincere wish to be free, to live an awakened life, the Buddha gave him a very simple practice. He told him to hold a white cloth, to wipe it, and to recite one short phrase, wiping dust, wiping stains. He wiped and wiped. Little by little, he saw the cloth turn from white to dirty. Then he began to understand, just like this cloth, his mind was constantly collecting dust from greed, anger, and delusion. From his greatest weakness, his slow learning, the Buddha gave him a simple, repeated lesson, until finally wisdom awakened in him. The monk once called the most stupid in the community later became an arahant, a fully awakened one. That story reminds us of something very important. You do not need to be perfect before you begin. You only need to be honest enough to see where you are and sincere enough to take one small step. In the teachings, faith is not blind belief. Faith is a trust that is just strong enough for you to begin to experience. It is like taking a pill the doctor gives you. You are not 100% sure it will cure you, but you trust enough to swallow it, to give your body a chance. Faith in Buddhism is like that. It is the kind of trust that is enough for you to sit quietly a few minutes each day. Enough for you to pause before you speak words that hurt someone. Enough for you to try letting go of one harmful habit you have carried for many years. If you wait until you are completely free of anger, free of fear, free of desire, free of mistakes before you begin, you may never begin at all in this whole lifetime. True faith arises when you dare to believe that you, too, can be free from suffering. Not only saints, not only enlightened masters, not only special, spiritual people have the right to be peaceful. You do too. When you look back at your life, you may see you have been weak, you have been wrong, you have hurt others, you have done things you now regret. All of that is true, but if you stop there, you will keep sentencing yourself for the rest of your life. The kind of faith the Buddha invites sounds like this. I see you as you are, and I trust what you are capable of. He is not talking about some ideal version of a perfect human being. He is talking about you. You, sitting here, breathing, listening, hurting, and yet still longing for peace. Imagine a person standing on the bank of a river. The far shore is a place of safety and ease. On that side, the waves of suffering no longer pull you under. This person stands on the near bank, looking across. Other people say, "It's beautiful over there, so peaceful." He nods. He agrees it probably exists. He believes in the far shore, but he does not believe that he himself can swim across. So for his whole life he stays on this side. He only looks, he only listens, he only dreams. Faith in Buddhism is not just believing that the far shore exists. It is believing I, too, can cross over. And to truly begin, there will always be a moment when you must accept getting wet, a moment when you must jump into the water. That jump can be very small. The moment you sit down, close your eyes, and pay attention to your breath, even though your mind is still full of noise, that is already one step. The moment you are about to shout at someone, but you stop, take a deep breath, and choose softer words, that is another step. The moment you look into your sadness and say, I will try to hold you this time, instead of running away, that is also a step. These steps may look clumsy, they may be short, they may be far from perfect, but they are your real feet walking on the path of awakening. The Buddha never said, "Only the perfect may practice." Instead, he said, "I teach suffering and the path that ends suffering." This means, exactly because we suffer, because we are weak, because we are wrong, because we fall, we need this path. Those who no longer suffer do not need to look for a way. So whenever you feel hesitant because you think you are not good enough, not kind enough, not calm enough, remember this. This path was made for people who are not enough like us. And strangely, the more you walk, the more your heart ripens, the softer it becomes, the more deeply you understand yourself. Maybe today you can only dare to believe a very small thing. Maybe I can suffer a little less. Maybe I can be a little more at peace. If that tiny flame of trust is nourished by each mindful step, by each conscious breath, by each kinder choice you make for yourself, it will grow into a fire. Then the Dharma, the Buddha's teaching, will not just be a distant idea, but something you can taste in your own life. The sweetness of letting go, the lightness of a deep sleep after you have finally faced your own heart. Faith begins in a very simple way, not with a big vow, but with a small yes to yourself. Yes, I will try to walk, even if I'm not perfect. Yes, I will give my heart another chance. Yes, I will trust that this path is also for me. And the moment you say yes to that first step, the first spark of faith lights up in your life, even if it is only a tiny light in the dark. From many such small lights, the whole dark sky of the heart slowly, gently begins to shine. A heart that knows enough, trusting yourself again. When we dare to take the first steps on the path, even clumsy steps, a very natural question appears. Do I really deserve this? Am I good enough to keep going? This is when a deep habit in us starts to speak. It is the habit that always calls us not enough, not smart enough, not good enough, not kind enough, not worthy of peace and happiness. And that small voice, if we don't recognize it, will quietly put out the flame of faith that has just been lit. In the Buddha's teaching, wrong view is not only about having the wrong ideas about the outside world, it is also having a wrong view about ourselves. When we believe, I am basically bad, I don't deserve love, we are holding on to a very deep wrong view. The Buddha taught knowing enough, contentment, as a great doorway to happiness, knowing enough with material things, knowing enough with status and success, and even more subtle, knowing enough in the way we look at ourselves. When you stop calling yourself not enough, hope quietly returns to each breath. A heart that knows enough is not a heart that stops trying. It is a heart that no longer tortures itself with toxic labels. There is a story often told from the Buddha's time. There was a very poor woman who had lived her whole life in shame and low self-worth. She heard that the Buddha was giving a talk, but she hesitated. He is an enlightened one. Around him are kings, merchants, and monks. What would a common, ignorant, poor woman like me be doing there? She stood far away, only daring to look from a distance. The Buddha saw her and gently invited her to come closer. He asked about her life. Then he said to her in very simple words, "On the path of awakening, everyone is a student just the same. Rich or poor, high or low, smart or slow, all share the same capacity to awaken." In that moment, it was not gold or money that helped her lift her head. It was the way an enlightened one looked at her as a whole human being, not lacking, not extra, completely worthy as she was. She began to believe that she was not completely worthless, not as hopeless as she had thought for so many years. Faith in the heart that knows enough begins from a simple truth. You are not the sum total of your failures. The things you did poorly, the wounds you carry, the times you went astray, All of these belong to your story, but they are not your deepest nature. In the Mahayana tradition, there is a saying, "The Buddha I already am, the Buddha you will become." Wherever that line comes from in scripture, its spirit is clear. The Buddha does not stand as a distant God to make you feel small. He stands as one who walked ahead, to remind you that you too carry in yourself the same capacity to awaken. The Buddha does not ask us to believe in him as the final goal. He invites us to believe in our own capacity to wake up. This kind of faith is not a pretty slogan. It is a very concrete choice in daily life. Instead of repeating, "I'm useless," we practice saying, "I can still learn. I can still change. I can still become gentler and more awake." Instead of looking at each mistake as a life sentence, we look at it as a lesson, as a step on a staircase. We shift from putting ourselves down to respecting our own path. One day, a monk named Sona was practicing with great intensity. He thought, "If I want to attain enlightenment quickly, I must push myself to the limit." So he did walking meditation until his feet bled. His body was exhausted, but his mind was still not at peace. The Buddha knew this and came to him. He asked, "In the past, when you were a musician, how did you tune the strings to make the instrument sound beautiful?" Sona replied, "World-honored one, if the string was too tight, the sound was harsh and it could break. If the string was too loose, it made no sound. Only when the string was in the middle was the music beautiful." The Buddha smiled. The path of practice is the same. Too tight and it breaks. Too loose and you go nowhere. You must learn to balance. Hidden in this teaching is a very deep message. Practice is not self-punishment. It is not about being cruel to yourself. To be gentle, to care for yourself, to rest at the right time, this too is wisdom. When you begin to practice the heart that knows enough, you are entering this middle way. Knowing enough is not giving up. It is stopping the demand that you must match some perfect image before you deserve love or acceptance. You still learn, you still correct yourself, you still train, but no longer from self-hatred. You do it from respect for your own journey. Each mindful breath, each time you allow yourself to rest when you are too tired, each time you gently say, "It's okay, I can try again." All of these are ways of saying, "I am important enough to be cared for." From this enough heart, you take one step more. You begin to trust your capacity to awaken. You trust that you are not locked forever inside your current personality, inside your old habits. In the teaching of impermanence, everything can change, so your anger can slowly soften. Your fear can slowly fade. Your selfishness can slowly melt. Faith in your awakening is faith in this impermanence, seen from its most beautiful side. If everything is always changing, then the suffering in you also has a chance to transform. At this point, kindness to yourself is no longer just a sweet phrase. It becomes a deep form of faith. Each small act of kindness toward yourself is a big step in trusting your path. When you stop saying cruel things to yourself, you are trusting that you deserve gentler words. When you choose healthier food, better rest, and more balanced habits, you are trusting that this body is a precious boat that carries you across the ocean of life. When you decide to talk to someone who can listen to you, instead of holding everything alone, you are trusting that your pain deserves to be understood, not buried. In Buddhism, compassion is not only loving others, it is also knowing how to return and embrace yourself. We cannot love anyone in a healthy way if we are secretly hating ourselves. So kindness to yourself is not selfish. It is the foundation for all other forms of true kindness. When you look at yourself with softer eyes, you will also find it easier to look at others with gentle eyes. Little by little, a heart that knows enough, that trusts its capacity to awaken, and that treats itself kindly, becomes very rich soil for true faith to grow. You no longer need to force yourself to be a good person. You simply return to the goodness already there and nourish it every day. At that point, faith is no longer an idea in your head. It is a very real feeling in your chest. I am not perfect, but I am walking. I have many old habits, but I can learn. I have suffered a lot, but my heart can still open, can still know enough, can still trust and love myself one more time. Rising softer after every fall. When you have learned to trust the whole seed within you, when you have dared to walk the path even while still imperfect, when you have begun to practice a heart that knows enough and to trust yourself again, you come to a very deep question. So, in the end, what should I use to measure the value of my life? Since childhood, we were taught to measure ourselves by grades, by achievements, by awards, by other people's approval. Growing up, we measure ourselves by money, status, appearance, and success. Then, after many breakings, we start to measure ourselves by our wounds. How many times we were abandoned, how many things we failed at, how many people hurt us. And when we look back, all we see is a thick file full of scars. And we no longer see the person behind it who is quietly trying to heal. The Buddha offers us another way to measure. Do not measure yourself by your wounds. Measure yourself by your willingness to heal. A person who carries many wounds but has a heart determined to transform, willing to learn how to understand and to love, willing to practice, willing to change, that person is already going very far on the path of awakening, even if, on the outside, life is still full of challenges. On the other hand, someone who seems to have few wounds but is closed, unwilling to learn, unwilling to open, unwilling to look back, unwilling to move forward, that person may be standing still in the dark, yet believes they are at peace. In the scriptures, there is a story about a woman named Kissa Gotami. She lost her only child. Her grief was so great that she carried her child's dead body from place to place, begging people to bring him back to life. Everyone looked at her with eyes full of pity and helplessness. Someone told her to go see the Buddha. She knelt down and begged, "Lord, please save my child. I cannot bear this pain." The Buddha did not immediately give a lecture on impermanence. He did not say, "You must accept this." He simply said, "Go and bring me a handful of mustard seeds, but they must come from a house where no one has ever died." Kissa Gotami held on to this hope and knocked on every door. Everyone was willing to give her mustard seeds. But when she asked, "Has anyone died in this house?" every household bowed their heads. Parents, husbands, wives, children, brothers, sisters, every family had already lost someone. Going from house to house, she slowly understood, death does not come only to her. Her pain, though enormous, was not a special punishment aimed only at her. When she returned to the Buddha, she no longer carried her child's body. She carried a new truth. Life is impermanent. From that wound, which seemed impossible to bear, she stepped onto the path of practice and gradually became awakened. If we measure Kissa Gotami by her wound, we only see a mother who lost her child, crying, broken, out of control. But if we measure her by her willingness to heal, we see a heart that dares to seek understanding, dares to face impermanence, dares to transform her own pain into wisdom. This story is not told to force us to be strong in a cold way. It is told to show us something. Right in the deepest place of a wound, if we dare to look deeply, the path of healing can open. Healing does not mean erasing every memory. It does not mean pretending nothing ever happened. Healing means learning again how to be gentle with yourself and with life, even after you have been hurt. A heart that has been betrayed, abandoned, misunderstood, can very easily choose to harden. From now on, I will trust no one. I will not open up. I will not love again. From the outside, it may look like that person has become stronger, no longer weak. But that is the strength of a wall, not the strength of a living heart. The Buddha did not teach us to become walls. He taught us to become like water, soft, but able to wear through rock, still, but able to flow through many obstacles. Once the monks asked the Buddha, "Among all virtues, where does patience stand?" He answered that patience is one of the greatest sources of strength. But patience here is not passive suffering. It does not mean letting others walk all over you. It is the ability not to let anger control you, not to let your wound turn you into someone who creates more wounds for the world. A heart that knows patience is a heart that can still be kind, can still be gentle, even after a lot of bitterness. That is the person who has learned gentleness again after being hurt. Learning gentleness again is not something you do once and then it's done. It is a daily practice. When you are angry, instead of throwing out sharp words that make others bleed inside, you practice breathing deeply, slowing down, and choosing to say less. You may still be angry, but the way you relate to your anger has changed. When you meet again someone who hurt you, you don't have to force yourself to be close right away. But you also do not give yourself permission to feed hatred forever. You see the wound clearly. You take care of it. You do not let it rule your life. You treat your painful memories in the same way. Instead of burying them or repeating them over and over with bitterness, you practice looking back with understanding. Back then, I was in so much pain, so I reacted that way. The other person was also suffering, so they acted that way. From understanding, gentleness returns. Your true strength is not that you never fall. Your true strength is that each time you stand up again with a softer heart. In the Buddha's community, many practitioners had crises. Some wanted to give up. Some collapsed in the middle of the path. The Buddha did not reject them. He did not say, "You have failed, go away." He listened. He taught. He adjusted their practice. He helped them stand up again. What made those people great was not that they were never weak. It was that they learned to use their falls to understand themselves more deeply, to understand the path more deeply, and therefore to love others more who were falling in the same way. On your own path of practice, it is the same. There will be days when you feel full of faith, you meditate regularly, you speak gently, and there will be days when you are irritated, you skip meditation, you explode, you say things that hurt others. If you use those falling days to conclude, "I am hopeless at practice," then you are measuring yourself by your wounds. But if you see them as tests, as chances to see more clearly what is still weak in you, and you are willing to correct, willing to learn, willing to apologize, willing to stand up and walk on, then you are measuring yourself by your healing. Each time you rise like that, if your heart is softer than before, more understanding of yourself, more understanding of others, less judgmental, less extreme, then each time you are going deeper on the path of awakening. On the outside, others may not see a big success, but inside you are slowly becoming someone who is truly present for your own pain, for your own joy, for each moment of your life. At some point you will see, measuring yourself by your healing, learning gentleness again, standing up softer after every fall. This is a way of living very close to the heart of the Buddha. Not a heart that has never been hurt, but a heart that, even when hurt, never stops shining with understanding and love. And in that moment, you are no longer just hearing about the Buddha. You are slowly living a small piece of the Buddha's heart in your own very human, very fragile, and very miraculous life. If something in today's video touched your heart, even just a little, please let me know with a like, a small comment, or by sharing it with someone you feel might be in need of healing. And if you'd like to have a few quiet moments each day to listen to the Buddha's teachings, to sleep more peacefully, and to let your heart slowly become more at ease, you're warmly invited to subscribe to the channel, Buddha's Loving Words, and turn on the notification bell. Thank you for staying with me until the very end of this video. I wish you a truly peaceful night and a heart that becomes more and more gentle with yourself.
From the bottom of our hearts, we thank you for supporting Buddha's Loving Words. May the teachings of the Buddha continue to touch every heart, bringing peace, and happiness.